Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we got a fun one for you today. We've got a little gallery here. When I hover over, the images are going to zoom in. And of course you can click on them and they'll pop out into the lightbox also. Really easy to do. And we're going to be showing you some cool new features that Divi have just implemented to do this. Let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. Well, let's roll on down to where we want to work. There's our little gallery right there. I'm simply going to delete it and start from scratch. And like I say, we're demonstrating this little zoom effect that we've got going on here. So let's get rid of that. I'm going to add a new module. Funnily enough, we're going to use a gallery. There it is. Let me select some images. I want about 8 of them. So let's add those two. I'm just holding my control key down and selecting multiples. That should be 8. Once you load them in there, you can move them about by simply left clicking, dragging, moving to where you want them, and releasing. Okay, image orders defaults fine. Image count, I've got 8 there, so I want to show 8. That defines how many you're actually going to show. Those crazy numbers underneath there, and letters and numbers I should say, they're actually the image titles. I don't want those underneath. So let's go down to element. I'm going to turn off show title and caption. And I'm going to turn off pagination also. Paginations are the little dots that appear below, or the little numbers, so you can go from one page to the other. As we've got only the one page, that's fine. When you hover over at the moment, it's got that white overlay with a blue icon. I don't want that icon or the overlay because I'm going to make mine zoom on hover. So let's get rid of that. I'm going to go into design. I'm going to go down to overlay. I'm going to make both of those transparent so you won't see them now. Great, fantastic. Well, we've got our 8 images, and what I want is for them to zoom in and be about double the size when we hover over them. So if we go over to our advanced tab now, Divi's actually got a very cool new feature. If we go down to the custom CSS, usually when you go there, you'll just get the module elements. They've got freeform CSS now, so you can actually put class names in and affect it. And I'll be doing this in a second and show you exactly how to do it. Usually, you go in there and have the module elements. If you want to do things that way, you can do still by clicking on the little tab up here. And you've got your regular before, main element, after, gallery item, overlay, overlay icon, etc. And of course, each module will be slightly different. But let's use the freeform today. And what we can do is write freeform CSS. It's about just like a code module or something like that. So let's just save this. I'm going to save my page changes here because I've got to find out a couple of class names. So I'm going to save draft. I'm going to exit the Visual Builder. Let's roll down to our little gallery here. If I right click, I'm using Google Chrome here, but most browsers have this nowadays. If you right click and hit inspect, it's going to bring up the inspector. If you're using Chrome, if you've got elements one side, it'll give you HTML. If you've got styles the other side, it'll give you CSS. Okay, well, let's have a look. I know here's the image, because I can see the URL for the image right there. So that's got the class of gallery image. So if I double left click on that, I can put my cursor in there and steal this class name. I'm just going to make a note of that. I'm going to copy it, Control C, and just paste it into a notepad. Control V to paste. Great. What I want to do is scale that up by 2 so it's twice the size. And you can actually write your CSS in here if you want to. So as to write transform, :scale, some round brackets with no gap at the end there. Let's scale it by 2 so it's twice the size. There you can see it's 1.5. Now make that 2 by putting a 2 in the bracket. That's great, but of course it's inside. It's sort of higgledy-piggledy with other ones on top and behind it there. And it looks pretty ugly being out of size there. I want it to zoom into that size, but still keep the footprint that it wants. So scale 2 is what I want there. Like I say, I don't want anything spilling out over. So we've got to find where it is to put the footprint. I think that's going to be in gallery item. If we hover over, it highlights anything that we're hovering over there. There's the first gallery item. Here's our second one right there. So if I click on that one there, and let's say overflow hidden, you can see it's zoomed in, but we're not seeing any overflow there. So it's the original size, exactly what I want there. So let's grab this class name, and I'll put all this down below for you. Anybody who wants to just copy and paste. Again, I'm going to double click. It's ETPB gallery item. I'm going to put that in my little notepad. Great. Well, let's go back in there now, and we'll write this code and make this permanent. Because when you write it in the browser like this, although it affects it, it's great fun to play with because you can't do any damage. Once I refresh this page, you'll see that go back to normal there with a smaller version of the wizard. There he is. So it's great for trying out ideas. Okay, let's enable the visual builder again. Well, it's enabled. Let's go down to our little gallery down here. There we go. We'll go back in there. Dark tab for the module. We'll go back over to our advanced and our custom CSS. Make sure we're on the freeform CSS. Now the first class I had was the gallery item, and I wanted to hide the overflow on it. And I've got the class name here. All class names have a dot or a period before them, so put a dot in there. Then the class name that we copied. We can open and close some curly brackets now and tell it what we want it to do. So I want to hide the overflow on this, so I'm going to say overflow, colon, hidden. Now the gallery image itself, we wanted to scale up when we hover over it. So let's get that class name, ETBPB gallery image, and we'll drop down. Again, it's a class name. So we want to put a dot or a period in front of it. There it is. Open and close our curly brackets again. And I want to scale this one up. So I'm going to say transform, colon scale, round brackets at the end there. And I want to make it twice the size. As you can see, this is affecting all of them. But I only actually want to make that happen when it hovers. So let's go in there. I'm going to copy this, the whole thing, from the dot to the last closing bracket there, Control C. I'm going to paste it down below. Drop down with my return key. Okay. On the end of the image there, with no gap, I'm going to put a colon and the word hover. So now, we've got a hover state. It's going to scale by 2. If I get rid of this, it'll scale back. But if I hover over, it's going to scale up to twice the size. Perfect. But that's happening pretty much instantly. I want it to happen over a bit of time. So I'm going to give mine maybe second, 1.2 seconds. So let's do that. It'll just slow it down and make it actually zoom rather than jump in like that. So I'm going to write transition duration, dash duration. I'm going to give mine about 1.2 seconds. Obviously, speed yours up or slow it down however you want to put yours in there. And let's have a look at it now. And it's actually zooming in. So if you put it to 0.5 seconds or something like that, it'll zoom in a lot quicker. If you put it to 2 seconds, it'll do a lot slower. I was happy with my 1.2 seconds, I think. Great. Well, if we've done everything correctly there, we should be good to go. So this is the new cool feature they've added where you can actually add class names and different things going on, which is a great addition. Saves you using a separate code module or writing it in your additional CSS panel. So let's save this and make sure everything works on the front end. Save draft or publish if you're ready. Exit the visual builder. We can roll down, roll over the old image. Takes 1.2 seconds to zoom in. And as I say, that pop-up crazy looking series of numbers and digits is actually the image names there. So you can get rid of that by taking the image name away, or just make it something that pertains to the image. So there you go, guys. There's how to create a great little zoom effect for your gallery thumbnails using the new freeform CSS option that they've given you. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. Don't forget, these will still pop out into a lightbox. If you have any questions, pop them below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo video like this one. So I hope you enjoyed this today and found it useful. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.